Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video. And today's car is the Mercedes CLA 250 Plus. And I've got this in because 2 years ago, June 23, I went out to Italy, Mille, and was invited by Mercedes to try out their Vision EQXX. And I spent a day in this experimental electric car, concept car. And I was astonished at the tech it had on board and how it had completely changed sort of my perception of where electric cars might go to. It was incredibly efficient. It did, in EV speak, it did around 7.6 miles per kilowatt hour. It was four-door saloon, 130 miles an hour, I think it was, 7.7 to 60. But it was the fact it had an enormous range on a normal battery, battery. It drove from the factory in Germany to Silverstone and enough battery to run around the circuit a few times. It had a range in excess of 1,200 kilometres. And I thought, hang on a minute, this changes everything. And they were then going to productionise all the tech they'd learnt with this car. And this is the result, the CLA 250 Plus. And I just wanted to see how close it was to that car. And you know, a lot of people are saying this is a game-changing EV because it has a range touching 500 miles on a single charge, and yet it hasn't got an enormous battery on it. It's an 85 kilowatt hour battery. How does it do this incredible range? Let's go and have a closer look. Now, one of the key things they had to do with this car was to make it incredibly slippery through the air. That was a secret of the EQXX. That had a CD rating of 0.19. This is 0.21, which is pretty flipping low, but not quite as low as the EQXX concept car. But I'm just confused by the shape of this car, the face on it, because that EQXX had a very modern face on it. It was like Project One. It was more streamlined at the front. And this has this grille on it. Well, they don't call it a grille in Mercedes speak. I was looking at the press release. They call this an illuminated front panel and a total of 142 individually animated LED chrome effect stars, which create a distinctive brand signature. If I just press this key, you'll see it in action. Whoa, it does all this. They've really gone to town with giving this car this look, this Mercedes electric look. They're not calling it, interestingly, EQ anymore. That was the previous range, had that name, but it has this light bar. And this, I'm afraid it will hear a sort of sound in the background. It seems that electric cars have to make noises all the time, but a lit up star here, and these do little sort of play up and down, and you'll see also as it continues, this goes on quite a while, you can sort of see the star effect in the lights as well here, the daylight running lights there. But while that's doing its thing, you can also see vents down here, super slippery. Right, it's done. It goes on a while. When you lock it, there are indicators there that change as well. Now, this car, we'll have a look in a moment, has a frunk. So it has a front boot. And the spec of this car is the AMG line Premium Edition. This model is 52,595, as you see it here. Patagonia red metallic, £825. The 19-inch wheels are standard, but they do have a slight downside, is they reduce the range by about 20-25 miles total range. So the potential range of this car is 460 miles, which I'll discuss later as well. Flush fitting handles on the outside, that's only on this upmarket version. Oh, and a glass panoramic roof, and it's almost seamless as it goes into the rear window as well. That is actually standard on all models of the CLA. Very slippery shape, fastback, and a big boot, and it's not a hatch. Apparently there is a station wagon one coming in the future. And the other strange thing, they're also promising plug-in hybrid versions of this car. And even though it's quite a big car, one thing you do notice when you try and clamber in the back, it has the battery on the floor of this car, so all the way to the back. It just means the floor's quite high and your knees go up, so you can fit in the back, but it is a bit of a squeeze. Frameless doors as well. We'll obviously see more of the interior when we get going, but it has quite a high centre console, but with that space underneath for charging things, a full width screen on it, a sort of centre screen, and then not on this car, you can also get a screen in front of the passenger as well to play YouTube and things if you want to watch Harry's Farm and things like that on the go. And then up the front, you get a boot or a frunk. And obviously, it's very wet this week, sorry about the rain. You get your charging cable and that hides in there. But this car promises this incredible range and super quick charging. This 800 volt architecture allows it to charge at up to 320 kilowatts. I've been out to see if it will fast charge, how many miles you can add. Mercedes claim 200-mile range increase in just 10 minutes. Does it do all of that? Let's take it outside, take it for a drive. All electric cars seem to like to play your little tune, don't they, as you get in these days. Anyway, this is what you're faced with. Positives, I quite like this wheel, this AMG wheel, sort of small airbag on it, flat wheel, feels weirdly sporty. I think you got into an AMG GT, but you are in a CLA 250 plus electric car. Straightforward instruments in front of me. How much charge have I got? 61% charge, 238 range, maximum of 293 range. Yeah, it displays this maximum range that if you turn everything off, I notice the climate is off actually at the moment. So if I just do that, now it's turned the climate back on. So 2 instruments, and then the display, you can move it up on the wheel. There's cruise control on here, haptic controls unfortunately, but sound systems and control of what you're looking at. This is actually displaying at the moment the charging options. So I am 61% charge, 223, if maximum of 100%. So if I went super efficient with the remaining battery, I could still do 362 miles, which is pretty good going. Just quickly around its instruments, air vents, normal air vents, which is good in today's world. Wireless charging for your phone here, and then this lower deck here that has the plug-in USB-Cs and cables and all sorts of things to put down there. 2 cup holders and a little bit in there. Well, that's quite a deep one down there. And then in the back, as I say, I can fit behind me, but just with that high floor is a bit strange. But this full width dash, this screen all the way across, is on all CLA models, and that one you'll see is a load of stars on it. Well, it's not available at the moment, but that will be an option to have a secondary screen there, and there is loads of stuff on here. I don't know what to show you really. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I actually have to turn off the functions. So this function is only available when this vehicle is switched on. Right, so I'm going to engage. You don't have, there's no start button or anything, you just put it into gear and now we're off. So now these are all live. So I'm going to acoustic warnings are off, attention assist is off, lane keeping function is off, steering assist. Right, so I'm all right there. And then we'll start that going. There we are. But there is all sorts of other stuff you can do on here. Now this is sound, so you can have your different sounds of individual rear exclusive. There's so much. I remember a car, you just put it into gear and he drove off. It's not so anymore, I'm afraid. But I control forward and reverse by this little lever that looks like a light switch or something, but it is now ready to go. And I think that's about it. I've got electric seats in here. Strange trim as well. They say it's man-made leather. As my son Charlie said, well, it's not skin. I said, well, no, what they mean is basically a very posh vinyl or something. But seats are fairly comfortable and you have good visibility out because you're sitting on top of the battery. And off we go. And it starts off in comfort. That's another thing I can do on here, dynamic select. So I could have sport, or I could have eco or individual, but I'll go back to comfort, which is its standard setting, I think. I've tried it in eco and I don't think there's much difference. So we'll head out, but what I'm going to do now is just drop in my experience of charging this car. And I was hoping, I went to the fastest charger locally around here, 120 kilowatt charger. What would happen? Could this charge at an incredible rate and add many miles in a very short period. I'm going to drop that in now, my charging experience. Now let's just have a quick look at the battery, where we are at the moment. So yeah, I've got 55% charge at the moment, 198 miles. I've done 147 miles on this charge. What's interesting is the maximum charging power is only 68 kilowatts. Charging power, why is that? And it says reason for power reduction, state of charge and temperature. What temperature is it? 7.5 degrees at the moment. I haven't driven very far so far today, but whether it will warm up the battery, I don't know. But anyway, that's unfortunate, so I can't really charge that fast. Right, let's go back to the home screen. Where to? And I can find charging places. So let's have a look where we've got in the vicinity, and it'll do a little. This is close, right? A40 Greg's drive-through. Right, I can go there. That's 120 kilowatt charger, and there's 3 available. So start.
The route is being calculated.
8 minutes away. So I'm going to head there and just see how easy the charge network, how it's working. I haven't charged the car out away from home for a while now, but I do like the way it knows where the suitable chargers were, and there was quite a choice there. Will now be brought up to optimum temperature for better charging. Well, that's interesting. So because I've told it I'm going to charge up, that's what Teslas used to do. It now knows, oh, I'm going to accept a charge. So it'd be interesting to see if that rate of charge, it was 68 kilowatts, it was the maximum when I looked at it then. Will that change by the time I get there? It hasn't got very long to do it, only got 7 minutes. Greg's drive-through as well. Let's just have a look what this says. So was that introduced? Right, well, maximum charging power is now 77 kilowatts. So it hasn't actually boosted it that much. I thought it would do better than that. But... Right, how many available? 3 available. I won't squeeze in the middle. I'll go on the N1. Yeah, that look of charging up electric cars, sat there and all steamed up. That is how it goes, isn't it? While you're sitting there, taking all your volts. Which side is the charger? It's this side. Sorry. Yeah. There we go. Right. Let's see what fun and games this is going to be. There we are. Remove car, £45. You're going to take £45. Car authorization, £45. Approved. Hurrah. Good. Select which charge I want. I want the big one. Time to plug in your vehicle. Do I release that? Insert plug in. Does that come in? There we go. God, it's a big cable. I suppose that's the thing with these enormous chargers. Let's put it in there. Whoa. Goes bleep. That goes, says something. You are connecting to your vehicle. It might give a readout here. It'll probably say what we're going to do. Still connecting to the vehicle. Lots of chats going on. 1 kilowatt, here we go. Let's have a look. Oh, look at it ramping up. So here, you can see the state of charge. So we're now charging at 63 kilowatts. Well, that is the most it's going to do. I suppose with the 2 other cars here, that's why it's not going quite as high. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's charging. That's all right. I'm going to have a quick look inside, and that will tell me how many miles I'm actually adding and how quickly. Estimated time. Does it actually say how many miles I am adding? I thought it would. Currently, so currently it's a plus no miles. How's that work? Currently 6, well, we haven't added any miles. Coal, it's going up, 74, 75 kilowatts now. They're frustrating things, electric cars. I want the information. I like this sort of stuff. I want it to tell me what 79 kilowatts is providing. I didn't actually check what the range was. The range is not moving. Yeah, the range is not moving. So how do I know? If I've got another 100 miles to do, I would like this to tell me how long it's going to take. We're going to have a look outside again. Well, let's have a look what's happening out here. Yeah, well, I've seen that go up to 80 kilowatt hours. We've added 5.8 kilowatt hours so far at a cost of £5.22. Yeah, a very expensive charger when you just tap and go, it must be, yeah, 90 pence a kilowatt hour. I'll work it out later, but it's strange it doesn't tell you that. It probably doesn't want to tell you that. But yeah, 6 kilowatts at 6 kilowatt hours added. It's doing 4 miles per kilowatt hour. So I've done 24 miles. I've added, well, done another half a kilowatt, so 26 kilowatts. At a price of £5.82. I'm going to work out what that is equivalent MPG with fuel at 135 and just see how expensive these miles are compared to a petrol car in MPG terms. Right, I'm going to put 10 kilowatts on and then stop at that. I'm just going to see inside if it is actually recording it now and telling me how many miles I've added. Right, I've added 17 miles according to that. That is bizarre. So they're not aligning with what I've done. Right, anyway, that's sort of the end of the experiment. You can charge and you can tap and go and you can charge at a relatively fast rate, 71 kilowatts. But this car is capable, they tell us, can charge at 320 kilowatt hours an hour. And it's absolutely nowhere near on this occasion. Right, I'm going to unplug it now. What's interesting, everyone's cleared off. So it is the car limiting the rate of charge, not the amount of power coming in here. So I have done 9.15 kilowatt hours at a cost of £8.18. Do you want to just do a close-up of that? And then I can work out the cost. There we go. And I'm going to stop. We are wrapping up your charges now. Thank you very much. And there we go. Oh, that's heavy. So, yeah, the charging experience wasn't great and we didn't get anywhere near the 200 miles in 10 minutes. We actually got about 50 miles in 10 minutes at the rate of charge. But there is, no doubt in the efficiency of this car, and I'll come on to that as well. But anyway, this is your normal screen. You see here a sort of googly map thing, and where you want to go, that will take you straight to chargers. I can tap that, as you saw, phone, radio. Then you've got this other menu down here, and you can go to all sorts of things in here. Obviously radio, browsers, a camera that does selfies, a camera there, but it won't work when we're going along, gallery, sound experience, and various other things. There we go, weather even. But I'm coming a little squirt up the hill, so I'm in normal mode. Here we go. Yeah. Strange noise. I can't remember what noise I put on it now. Is it that one? I mean, it gets a bit of a move on. It's 6.7 seconds to 60, so it's not disgraced. I do really like, actually, that it's not a performance. This is about efficiency, this car. And I think it's the right direction for an EV, the type of car it is, everyday use, how to eke out the maximum amount of range from the electricity on offer. I digress. Good visibility out here, big screens, like the panoramic roof that has no blind on it. They actually have all sorts of sophisticated sensors in there that will darken it and things. As I say, it's amazing. It's actually standard, but there we are. And the two gauges in front of me are dancing around. The one on the right is like a Rolls Royce. It's your power meter. How much power am I using, rather than a rev counter, and then speed on the left, and kilometers there, and range. And yeah, one thing just with this, the amount of range this car does, it does really reduce range anxiety. I took this car to the airport, first run. Went to Heathrow early on, foul weather, pouring of rain, and very easy, I think, but I had about 80% left of range, and I'd done 70 odd miles time range. Came back, had to go a slightly longer route back, and even then I was at 60% range and still had over 200 miles after covering 150 miles. Right, quickly turn a right here, just chuck it in, see what happens. They corner flat, electric cars. They have a sense of performance and good handling because the centre of gravity is that much lower with the battery in the floor. So they feel weirdly dynamic when you don't expect them to. So and this is what it feels like here. Really nicely judged ride. I can put it into sports, but it's on coil springs. Don't think it changed dampers. It might do. I just don't think it's that sort of car. I just like its standard setup, but they do energise how the accelerator, you know, it will just add power quicker if you put it in a sport. But generally, pleasant. You're not going to take it out for a drive, but it doesn't feel wallowy or a bit embarrassing on it. Anyway, so yeah, the range is impressive. I got back to say I did 150 odd miles and 209 mile range left. I think it was 350 something mile range, real world, in about 10 degrees temperature ambient. So this promise of over 400 miles is probably there, but you need warmer temperatures than you get in the UK in November. I think it's probably time to just discuss some likes and dislikes with this car. Well, dislikes, I'm going to kick off with the styling. I'm desperately disappointed with the styling of this car. I thought EQXX just was showing a new direction, a fresh direction, a technical type of styling, and it reminded me of the Project One, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. And yet, what do we get? We get this car that could be from anywhere, and they've got this mad front grille, or panels they term it, with all the LED flashing around. It seems to me as though it's meant to appeal to China, and the one market that is disappearing for the European manufacturers is China. So we're lumped with it in Europe and in America. America's going off EVs as well. I just think it's such an opportunity missed. I think the BMW new class design will show it up. So I'm not a fan, as you can probably tell, of the styling. Let's just try around these bends. It is odd testing electric cars because they're just no gears, no nothing. I ought to mention, the electric motor here has 2 gears in it for quicker acceleration and then off, and that is very closely related to that EQXX. Very good powertrain, and I like also it's still a rear drive as well, not 4-wheel drive. But I'm getting into the likes. I want to stick with the dislikes. The seats, when you sit high in it, I just wish there was a sort of footwell, particularly in the rear. You do feel slightly perched up. The seats, weirdly, are all right, and they have a very peculiar headrest. Yeah, you pull it out towards you or put it back. They don't go up and down, they come in and out, which is a bit strange, but actually quite practical. The fabric, I'm really not so keen on this. It's a £50,000 car, but then again, that is sort of where they start in this sort of range, isn't it? That's where we are today because of the amount of tech they have to put in the car that just makes them so expensive. Likes, the efficiency. It will do 4 miles per kilowatt hour. I'm very easy. I'm at 3.8 and I'm not even trying over the last 180 miles, and I have been doing stuff for camera backwards and forwards and things. You will do better than that. You will struggle to get less than 3, and you'll be surprised how many times you'll go over 4, and especially when it's warmer outside. And that does give it a proper range of 350, 400 miles. And that is a bit of a game changer. It's not the full game changer we were promised, but it's pretty flipping good. You will be over 300 miles before you're thinking of recharging this car. And that's only because it's cold at the moment. If I had been testing this car in 20 degrees plus, I would imagine it would touch 400 miles quite easily before you'd have to charge it. 2, I actually quite like the interface. I'm amazed I say that, but it is very straightforward to use. I think the only trouble is it's a bit hard sometimes when you're trying to get a setting and it's your floating hand because it's such a big screen and your fingers aren't quite long enough, but it's not bad at all. And you've got these auxiliary controls down here, and on the wheel works reasonably well as well. So that's a nice surprise. It doesn't give a huge amount through the screen, but yeah, efficiency, slightly growly engine because I put the sound system on. It's not unpleasant to get around. So yeah, conclusion. I like it, but it's not a 5-star car for me. I think it competes better with Tesla than perhaps previous Mercedes. It's there or thereabouts on efficiently. It's got a bigger battery than a Tesla, and it's very efficient, especially against the previous generation EV cars. This is definitely a step up from what we experienced before on efficiency, and I love that about it. But I think Mercedes, it's this engineering company to me. I want it to show off its engineering. It's got the underpinnings to do it, but it hasn't got the sort of look to do it. And I've got a G-Wagon arriving in a few weeks, and that to me has a real design statement. You might not like G-Wagon, but there's no doubt in it makes a statement. It's Mercedes, it's tough. I wish this car had that look of the EQXX, a technical, future-looking car beyond just, you know, slightly childish sorts of little stars that light up and down on LEDs. I don't want that. I want good design. I want modern design. I want to say, wow, I'm driving the future here, and I don't think that quite does it. But overall, pleasant enough, not a car for me, but hats off for the engineers. They've really focused on the efficiencies. I just wish the designers had helped them show off that efficiency and the forward thinking of this car. There you go. There's my review of the Mercedes CLA 250 Plus. Hope you enjoyed it. Keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.